Hey, we're turning down the flames on Butt Liquor.
Oh Lord.
But we're bringing the flames back because it is the NBA playoffs. We are now in the conference finals. So we're going to break it down. We're going to talk about the latest rounds where we had Dallas beat OKC. We had Denver beat Minnesota. We had Boston beat Cleveland. And we had the Indiana Pacers getting past the depleted New York Knicks. So it looks like we're finally in the Western Conference Finals with Dallas and the T Wolves. And then in the Eastern Conference Finals, we do have Boston and the Indiana Pacers. This is some of the most unlikely, besides Boston, teams that expected. I know people were not picking Dallas. They were not picking Minnesota, especially at the beginning of the year to make the conference finals. And in the East, absolutely no one, and I say no one, was picking the Indiana Pacers to get that far. We got the Eastern and Western Conference schedule on the left-hand side. And they are doing game after game. You could see, look, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They are literally alternating, so there is a game every single day starting when this drops. This podcast is going to drop on the 21st. And the first game, Pacers Boston game one, will be 8 Eastern, 7 Central. And then the next day we got Dallas on the road and going to Minnesota, and that'll be at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, 7:30 Central. So let's go ahead and start it off. We're going to start off with the easy conference, the conference where you basically could get by without even trying. Unfortunately, the Eastern Conference is full of bumps and injuries, and it looks like the Boston Celtics went ahead and routed the Cleveland Cavaliers 4-1, just like they did the Heat. And in both of those series, both teams had a lot of injuries. So, Coase, we're going to go through each series. What do you think about Boston getting to the conference finals? Do you think they had an easy road beating an injury-depleted Heat and an injury-depleted Cavs team that's missing 2 starters to get to the conference finals? Do you feel like that's like Boston always kind of cheats like that?
I mean, honestly, this is the first time you really didn't hear much about Boston. Because I mean, usually every time you hear about Boston, you always hear about them how they always facilitate the ball, they always pass the ball, they always pass the ball, facilitate the ball to everybody. But with now they had Jason Tatum and what's the other dude name?
Brown?
And Brown. I mean, it's looking like
Jaylen.
it's Jaylen Brown. It's looking like it's real easy for him. I mean, even though they
I
lost
mean,
Porzingis,
yeah.
I want to be like, oh yeah, it's a little hard, but they lost Porzingis. I mean, they got Robin Williams. I'm not Robin Williams. They got Al Horford old behind. I mean, they got Holiday. Holiday's nice.
They actually just re-signed him to like a $3 million extension.
Yeah, he's nice, but I mean, they just don't. I mean, Porzingis ain't there, so I want to say no, but they play some lucky people. I mean, Bam Adebayo in the Heat, Jimmy wasn't there. They got lucky. They got lucky that series. Then with these whole Donovan Mitchell and
Jared Allen
and Gardner. I mean, that they want
Garland.
They want Garland. They want Donovan Mitchell out of there. I don't see him staying there much longer. So I automatically knew that wasn't gonna work because they're not gonna win the ship. And it's rumors about him being traded to the Lakers or somewhere else.
Yeah, unfortunately, Donovan Mitchell, Spider Mitchell, wears out his welcome wherever he's been. He kind of rubs some people the wrong way in Utah, where they got him out of town, and only a couple of seasons in Cleveland, they're already ready to get him out. I mean, the rumors, and this is rumors, so we don't, take that with a grain of salt. Darius Garland does not want to play with Donovan Mitchell, and he's going to make the franchise basically choose me or him type of situation.
Like Kobe and Shaq?
Yeah, they're not on that level, of course, but Darius has been there. He was drafted there. And he's the younger player. And I think anytime when you have 2 stars on a team butting heads, most of the time they're going to go with the younger player, especially the one that they drafted. So I think Donovan Mitchell will be on his way out. He has rumors to the Lakers and other teams. I think the Lakers would be death to us trading for a small guard. They don't need another small guard, so they should avoid him like the plague. I think any contending team should avoid Donovan Mitchell. He's just not that guy.
Get Ingram.
So yeah, I think the Celtics had the easiest road to get to the conference finals. They missed Porzingis, but they still have Al Horford, who was their starter from years before, so they're really not missing anything. And it's so crazy that Boston gets such a cakewalk every year to the conference finals, but they either lose in the conference finals or lose in the NBA finals. They remind me of the old Detroit Pistons with Tayshaun Prince and Rasheed Wallace. I know they did break through and win the championship one time, but it was like over like 9 years. They were in the conference finals like 9 years in a row. They broke through twice and they won one, lost one. So the Celtics have already lost one. So we'll see if they break through to the finals again and finally win one. I hope not. I hate Boston. Jason Tatum, you suck.
I mean, I can see with this, like with the Celtics, just off of positioning.
Jalen Brown's a goofy.
Just off of positioning. I mean, like I feel like they got luck. I mean, not gonna get lucky. Like it's always gonna be like next year. I can see. I can see number two, like the 2 and 7, the Philly and the Knicks.
They can be switched.
That could be switched, and then the Bucks most likely gonna be 2 or 3 or 1. So this is how it's always gonna be every year, and I mean they gonna get lucky regardless because.
Well, that's the thing is the East is so trash that if you're
always been trash. They've been saying
that
since LeBron was there. Since LeBron left, they've been saying the East is trash.
And it's true because it's like you're the 1 or 2 seed. Sometimes you play kind of a real trash team in the first round. Usually, if you're a top seed in the East, the first round is like trash team.
And you get first round pick, you get first round position. You're gonna have the easiest road. It's like 2 or 3. You finna have the toughest road because you have to play each other.
Yeah, exactly. And then as far as the Indiana Pacers, man, they got lucky.
Lucky as hell.
Lucky too. They were able to beat the Bucks without Dame Lillard or without Giannis. So I mean, when you have Bobby Portis being your number 1 guy, that's Crazy Eyes isn't going to get it done. I'm sorry, you're not winning a playoff series with just Crazy Eyes.
And then with the whole Dame thing, I don't know how that situation is going. I wouldn't.
Next year. I wouldn't give up. They had some high moments. They had some low moments. I know that they fired their coach. I think they actually did worse.
Do you get rid of Middleton?
No,
it's not time he was injured.
He was injured most of the year, and he came back towards the end and actually did pretty good.
I guess if that's what you want. I mean, they got to get rid of somebody. They don't get rid of somebody. Either they get rid of Brook Lopez or they get rid of Middleton.
I mean, I don't think they really need to get rid of anybody. I think they just need a training camp to iron things out. Maybe make a couple tweaks with like the bench or the role players.
Mm-hmm.
But beyond that, they should be straight. I just think they need to run it back. But yeah, we'll see. And then the Pacers, with them, getting past the Knicks literally had their whole starting lineup injured. And they still took him to a game 7.
Seen Steven Chinjo dropped like 30?
Yeah, he dropped like 40 points or something the last game.
He nice.
And, DiVincenzo tried to do it. Brunson broke his hand. Mitchell Robinson broke his ankle. Julius Randle broke his shoulder. OG Onunubi
calf muscle, right?
Pulled his hamstring. Yeah, so he could barely walk. He played for like 3 minutes in the game 7. He actually hit a 3-pointer and a 2-pointer. And then he was like, I can't even walk. You could see he could only turtle walk. He couldn't stride at all.
Oh Lord!
And so
but I think that's probably why I seen it. I wasn't surprised. But when the Knicks, when you seen it towards the end of the fourth quarter, when it was already over with like the last 2 seconds, the whole New York gave us standing ovation.
Oh yeah, I mean because if they have 2 out of those 5 guys, I mean because they even had their best bench player Bogdan Bogdanovic, who's a 3-point shooter that used to play on the Jazz. It looks like Joe Ingles' cousin. He was 18 points off the bench, and he got injured in their first series against Philly. So, I mean, they really they're missing their 5 best players. No team in the league would win a playoff series missing their 5 best players.
True.
So, I mean, the Pacers honestly shouldn't even be there. I'm going to pick Boston to beat Indiana 4-1. I think if they mess around and how Boston does, where sometimes they don't take stuff seriously, they could be a 6-game series. But I think, honestly, if they stay locked in, it should be a sweep. But I'm just giving the NBA will kind of rig one game enough because they don't want to lose money and at least make it a 5-game series. But I think Boston could, mess around, and that's what could make it a 6-game series.
I think Boston going in 6. Boston going to win in 6. I can see Indiana winning at least 2 games. At least 1 game in one. I want to say 1 game in Indiana, 1 game in Boston they can win. Because, I mean, Miles Turner is a beast. I ain't going to disrespect that. Because, I mean, like you said, all they got is Al Horford.
The Lego man.
I mean, you got Siakam. Siakam can guard. He can either guard Tatum or Brown. He's going to have to guard one of them. He's going to have to
He's going to have to guard Tatum.
Honestly, I would tell.
What is that, Naismith? Their small forward will be able to guard Brown pretty good.
I tell them to lock down Brown. Lockdown Brown, we gonna just live and die with. Jason Tatum's gonna have to. He's the only one gonna be scoring. like they always do. Like let Jordan score, everybody else will
You,
lock it down.
you know who Boston's gonna have no answer for?
Who?
My dog T.J. McConnell. T.J. McConnell, the Great White Hope. He's dropping 40 points a game on Boston. No, it's crazy. T.J. McConnell looks like he's gonna get it done. And he's been super surprising. He's like an old veteran white dude, and he just randomly will have like 15 points and 10 assists in a game in like 12 minutes. So T.J. McConnell was definitely, I think, like the MVP of that series against the Knicks. The way that he was able to play Jalen Brunson off the bench and just kind of getting underneath the whole team's gears. But yeah, Boston's taking that. So let's go to the Western Conference and we'll break down Dallas versus OKC. I picked Dallas in 6. It ended up being in 6. And honestly, if it wasn't for
Which one was 6?
Dallas OKC.
I thought the one in just 6.
Yeah. And honestly, Dallas messed around one game where they had like the lead, and then they missed like all their free throws in Game 5. And was it Game 5 or Game 4? I think it was Game 4. They missed all their free throws, or they would have won that game too. So it would have been a 4-1 if they didn't mess around that one game where they just turned the ball over and didn't hit.
Luka wasn't hitting.
Well, no, they literally made like 50% of their free throws. They lost the game by like 5 points, but it's because they went like 12 of 25 from the free throw line. So,
I mean, honestly, I gotta say the only reason why this game didn't go 7, because I feel like Mavs probably would have won, but it would have won 7 if PJ didn't catch fire. If PJ wasn't like PJ was hitting like 7 threes, I'm like, what?
He averaged like 22 points a game that series.
Yeah, that was
He usually
surprising.
averages like 12 to 15.
Yeah,
And he was playing like a man possessed because they weren't guarding him. I mean, honestly, they were so worried about Luka and Kyrie that they were just leaving him alone in the corner, and he was making them pay every single time. So I really like that he's got his confidence up on the corner threes, and he's a vital part of the offense. So,
yeah, but how do you feel? I mean, before we move on to the next game, how did you feel about the big man? I mean, Lively did show up at the end, but I mean, what about Gafford? I mean, this is gonna be a hard.
Gafford had a medium series against Chet. I mean, honestly, I think Lively ended up playing more minutes per game because he played Chet better. They were both
got injured too.
Yeah, they were both. Gafford's a little short at center. He's only 6'10", and Derek Lively is 7'1". I believe Chet's like around the same height, 7'1", 7'2". So Lively with his long arms and athleticism and being a young guy and having all that energy, just like Chet, they're both rookies. He actually was able to show him up. I would say that Derek Lively, who was all rookie second team, where Chet was all rookie first team, actually outplayed him.
Do you think it should have been switched, or you think the first team, second team rookies?
No,
was right
I mean,
I
think it was right because they had Victor as the
he
center.
wasn't being Victor,
and he wasn't being Victor, and then they had Chet as the power forward, even though he plays center on OKC. So technically, I mean, if they wanted to go by the rules, they could have had Wemby at the first team, Chet at the second team, and then Derek Lively wouldn't have made any team. But since he was so good, they gave him the power forward spot, and then Derek Lively was able to get second team because Chet did play good enough to be on first team. As far as, I mean, he averaged like 18 points a game as a rookie, which is pretty impressive.
True. Is okay, and moving on to the next game. I mean, with the Timberwolves in Denver.
That was the shock of the century, man. Denver looked like that they were going to run him out of the building and sweep him, winning the first 2 games Minnesota, beating Denver on the road, winning the first 2 games. It literally looked like they were going to get swept. Like they were just bullying them. And then Denver showed their championship experience.
And won like what, 2 in a row, 2 in a row?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then I mean Jokic was balling out, but I mean I seen the percentages. They were
no, they did win 3 in a row, right?
Yeah, they won 3 in a row.
And then Minnesota won 6 and 7.
Yeah, they won 6 and 7. I mean, this game was crazy. I really thought that the Timberwolves was gonna lose because I seen OKC lose, and I was like, man, watch, they gonna put a Mavericks versus Denver for the conference championship game. But I mean, Ant balled out. I mean, and I always knew that Karl Anthony Towns he's gonna give you a ball out game. He ain't give you a ball out game yet in that series, so I had to know it was gonna be either game 6 or game 7. He was gonna have to show up, and I'm glad he showed up in one of those. And Naz Reid, the sixth
Six
man of
man
the
of the
year.
year.
He's like they had no. I felt like once when he played the first 2 games, he was balling out. But then when they took him out and he didn't play any minutes, I feel like once they finally put him back on the court, he showed you like I'm not gonna mess up this time, and he just balled out.
He
Like,
played
Jokic
great
couldn't-
defense. He got offensive rebounds. He got put back dunks. He had timely threes. I mean, Nas Reed is really a guy that got it out the mud. He was playing he was undrafted. He played in the G League. He got a 2-way contract, and then he got a real contract, and then he got like a pretty good contract, and then now he just won Sixth Man of the Year, proving that contract was worth it.
Exactly.
So, I mean, shout out Nas Reed. The grind don't stop. Salute to you for getting your deal. And, it's going to be tough for me because I like watching Minnesota. They got a fun team, but, Dallas is my favorite team. So, of course, I'm going to have to go for Dallas. But I'm not going to be a hater. I do like Minnesota's team and think they got a bright future for being good for years to come.
You think it's going 7?
I honestly thought that they were the best team to go against Denver. So I'm glad that they won because I didn't want Dallas. I thought would have had a really hard time with Denver.
I think they would have beat Denver because Gordon and what's his name, basically the same height.
Washington.
No, not Washington. Who's the
Gafford.
Gafford, basically the same height. And then you got Lively. Lively probably would have gotten in foul trouble. That's the only thing I was really worried about.
Well, they don't play them together.
They would have.
That's the problem.
But
because
then
they can't because neither one of them shoots threes.
Kleber's gone.
Kleber might come back this series. He's working out.
That might slow him down.
He might come back, and that'll be great because they could even put like Lively at center. They could put Kleber at power forward and put Washington at the 3. Now they're super huge, and they still have the shooting. So that really Kleber, I think, could be a big difference. I think Dallas has been terrible in the first game. They've lost the first game in both against Clippers and OKC. So I think Dallas may lose the first game, but they really got to see if they could possibly split because that's always the goal when you're on the road to win one of the first 2.
So who's on? Who's gonna have to show up? I feel like
Kyrie.
Not Kyrie. I feel because Kyrie from your aunt said I got Kyrie. So that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, but what's like Kyrie had a tough series against OKC because like Kyrie's only 6'2", and they were putting guys that were like 6'5", 6'7" on him.
Yeah.
So like that's a lot of length. It's hard for him to get his shot
Giddey
off.
and all them, Josh Giddey and everybody.
Yeah, and Williams and
even
Shea's tall. Shea's like 6'7", like Luka.
Mm-hmm.
So Dort may not be 6'7", but he's real thick, and he will truck you like a linebacker, or knee you in the stomach for no reason. So screw you, Dort. But
it's gonna be a good one. I mean, Josh McDaniels on Luka. Jaden McDaniels on Luka. I mean, that's gonna be a good one. They both almost the same height.
Here's the thing that Minnesota doesn't think about is Minnesota was built to beat Denver, right? Because they had like 3 good bigs. They got, Rudy, Big Cat, and they got Nas Reed. But when Dallas plays them, they're going to turn that strength into a liability.
Do you know in the past 5 games, Minnesota played Mavs, and Mavs only won 1 game, one time out of the 5? And only time they won was
their starters only played 1 out of those 5 games.
Yeah, they always rotated. But when Luka and Kyrie was there, they both had to drop like 38 and 35 to win the game. But then besides that, if they didn't drop that, they lost. Yeah. And the other times they wasn't there.
Yeah, but that was also before the trade. So they're a much different team. I mean, they were starting Grant.
They paid him 2 times in January. They beat him. January and February. They beat him both times.
They didn't. They rested their players. I checked the data on it that the games that the Wolves won, Luka and Kyrie didn't play both. They were starting like Hardy and Exum. Those were like throwaway games.
In January before the All-Star game.
Yeah. They gave him rest at some random times.
Wow, no, it's gonna be real hard.
Because I saw some things where basically all the media heads were saying that you can't use any of the data because they only played like 1 game where both teams had their starters. You can always say that with Mavs, it's always gonna be one not there because him and Kyrie, either he gonna be there, the other one not gonna be there. But it might be hard. I mean, but I mean that's what I'm saying. And plus, they didn't have Washington or Gafford.
True.
And so they're a much different team now with Washington and Gafford, and Washington looking like he's stepping up as a third option.
So how do you feel about the whole? But I think one thing that the Minnesota can do that actually that Mavericks gonna have to find a new thing to do is the whole the alley thing because Denver had the alley thing with Gordon and they always did that and they did really good.
Stopped it.
Rudy Gobert always stays back and he jumps in the air and slaps it. That's a lot. Lively ain't finna shoot the ball.
There's not gonna be as many lobs, but you know what there is gonna be? They're gonna do a slow screen and roll where they switch. And they're gonna try to get Rudy and Big Cat to guard Luka on the perimeter, where Luka can hit either a step back three, or get right around them, make the defense collapse and pass to a shooter, either like Kyrie or Washington.
And that's gonna be the only thing they can. That's the only thing they can do because
PJ
Washington's gonna get stuck by Big Cat.
Yeah,
and that's hard.
Yeah, but I think Washington has the speed advantage.
But who has the weight advantage? He's gonna get tired. Because, I mean, if Big Cat actually plays like you want him to play, like a real man.
I mean, that's the thing, though. He has too much AD in him.
So it really just depends on what Big Cat you get.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hey, because I can see it, man. Big Cat might show out this game. It's going to be real tough. I don't know
what's funny is
who do y'all got for Ant? Who y'all got to stop Ant?
Derrick Jones Jr.
Derrick Jones, that's 6'7". Jones Jr. don't start.
Yes, he does.
Derrick Jones, so it's...
Derek Lively doesn't start. Derrick Jones is a small forward from the Heat.
And
then won the dunk contest.
Then you got Washington.
He starts.
Then you got Lively.
Lively doesn't start.
You got what?
Gafford starts.
So you put Gafford starting over to start going against doing the jump ball against Rudy?
Yeah. You don't jump ball really doesn't matter because if you lose it,
first quarter, how you finna get rebounds?
Well, that's why Luka rebounds. Luka, Gafford, and Washington all rebound.
But how you gonna get the offensive rebounds if Luka's doing you remember he's gonna have to do the step back threes like you said. He's not how he's gonna get the rebounds for the step back threes.
Gafford gets some offensive rebounds. Washington gets some offensive rebounds. Josh Green when he comes in off the bench gets rebounds, tip outs, and Lively when he comes off the bench gets rebounds. So
they wasn't getting that many rebounds when they played when Zubac was on the floor.
They did against OKC.
OKC had one. Look how the body size. These two body sizes way bigger than OKC.
That's what I'm saying, though. But I think that they might lose some things like the lobbing, and they may have a tougher time on the boards. But they're going to get a lot easier isolations.
And on top of that, Chat used to go for the three. Rudy ain't going for the three. He's going to be there every time. Every time he's going to be down there for the rebound.
Well, that's why if you pull him out.
We got Cat. Can't pull out both.
No, but Cat's not a rebounder like that. Cat averages like 7 rebounds. He's never averaged 10. You don't have to worry. He averages the same as PJ Washington.
You got to see.
No, but I think that's where it's going to shine is Kyrie and Luka are going to be able to go one-on-one, which they weren't able to do in OKC because OKC was just able to switch everything, and you switch from Dort to Williams. They both can guard at the same. Or you shoot from Dort to Giddey or the Dort to Shea, you're getting the same size person on you that you don't have any advantage over. But now when you like Kyrie or has a Mike Conley or
that's it.
Edwards on him, he's going to set the screen and then you're going to...
How tall is Edwards? 6'5"?
6'4". 6'4", 6'5". He's only 2 to 3 inches taller than Kyrie. It's not like... it's not
be a hard one, and he did real good against Murray. He had Murray mad, shut him down.
No, but that's the thing is Kyrie will be way quicker than Edwards.
We got to see.
But Kyrie is going to come off that screen, and instead of coming off the screen and you got a same size defender that can move his feet just the same and contest that's bigger than you, you're going to get a big slow foot person who Kyrie kills in those mid-range pull-ups, either the fake mid-range pull-ups and get to the hoop or the floater. So Luka and Kyrie should, I think, have like both average over 30 points a game.
So it all comes down to who? The side people, PJ Washington and them? So PJ Washington has to show up?
I mean, I don't think he has to score more than like 20 points every game, but if he's in like the mid to high teens,
they both had to score 40 points to beat them together.
Regular season games also is like sometimes teams try or don't try, so I don't really put into that. But what I do put into it is Dallas has actually played 2 of these guys in the playoffs before. if you remember, Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert used to be on the Utah Jazz, and Luka beat them in the playoffs 2 years ago.
That's when you also had big people. You had a whole bunch of big men too to match up with them to get the rebound.
No, I mean, we had Porzingis at center.
There you go.
But
who else? Yeah, Kleba.
Yeah, but Cleveland didn't start.
You get the other big dude.
Dorian Finley-Smith.
He was nice.
He was 6'7". He ain't huge.
He had defense.
He's like how Derrick Jones is right now. Except Derrick Jones is actually, I would say, where Dorian Finley-Smith was a hair better at 3-point shooting. Derrick Jones is a hair worse, but he's 10 times better as far as driving to the hoop and dunking.
You gotta see. I don't know. He might dunk on Big Cat. I give him like 2-3 dunks on Big Cat, but this topic can go for a while. Y'all need to comment down below who you got during this NBA playoffs.
Yeah, I'm picking Celtics in 5, and I got Mavs in 6. Because I think Luka and Kyrie are gonna take advantage of Big Cat and Rudy. Because when Luka played the Utah Jazz in the playoffs, he would get Rudy on him and absolutely torch him. And then when you get Rudy away from the hoop, if you pass it to someone and they cut to the hoop, he's not there to block the shot anymore because he's on Luka on the perimeter.
Daniel, what's it called?
Big Cat?
No, the other one.
McDaniels?
Yeah. McDaniels plays defense. And he gets blocks.
Yeah, he plays defense.
And he's 6'9".
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard.
I think Derrick Jones Jr. is going to catch him.
Of course he's going to catch him. Of course he's going to catch him in 1 or 2, but I don't really think it's going to be a hard game. This is going to be a lot harder than
I think Minnesota could win. I think
go
Dallas can win too, but I think a lot of times the game comes in the details. Like you saw, Dallas could have had a 5-game series if they would have hit their free throws. If these games are close enough and you do that once or twice, you could lose the series on a couple dumb mistakes. Like you literally have to be locked in the whole game.
I think this is going to come down to Luka ankle and having to get these rebounds because he's on a bum leg. And you expecting a lot for a person on a bum leg.
I think if Kleba comes back, it'll make it 10 times easier.
Kleba has to come back the first 2 games. If he comes back 3rd or 4th game and you're already down 1 or 2, I don't think.
I mean, they split every series, the first 2. So as long as they do that, they're fine. And they did both of those without him.
They had Kleba for some of the
like a couple Clippers games.
They had him for the Clippers game.
Like 3 before they were jerks. They're trying to injure us.
Exactly.
That's why Luka's all beat up, man.
And like you said, OKC, everybody's the same height.
Yeah, everyone's like 6'5", 6'7".
Exactly. So I mean, it's gonna be kind of different. But I mean, hey, we gonna comment down below what I got. Moving on.
Yeah, because I just think that Denver, besides Murray, didn't really have the ability to torch the bigs. Like, that's why they kind of got screwed. Because, like, Murray would get on a roll, but then he would also get on a cold thing. And then you got Caldwell Pope, who ain't taking nobody off the dribble, even if he gets the switch with the big on him. And you got Michael Porter Jr., who's a catch and shoot, and Aaron Gordon only knows how to dunk. So they couldn't take advantage of a big being switched out on the perimeter. Where Luka and Kyrie, they're going to be able to take advantage. And Luka he absolutely loves playing against Rudy Gobert. He torches him.
He does torch him, but at the same time, that's what Joker doesn't play all the way down by the. He doesn't play all the way down by the. Joker plays like in the middle or the 3-point line.
Have you seen those videos of when like the Utah Jazz would play Golden State in the playoffs and the things that Curry used to do to Rudy Gobert? There's literally like minutes of video where he's just toying with him on the perimeter.
Oh no! You talk about Utah Jazz with Joe Ingles?
They had Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Joe Ingles, and Mike Conley.
Trash.
This Minnesota team has Mike Conley and Rudy Gobert. They have 2 fists of the same starting lineup.
That's just it, and everybody else is a lot better. Ant is better than Donovan Mitchell, and is taller than Donovan Mitchell.
I would say no, but you got to remember Donovan Mitchell had some special playoff moments early on for Utah. I would say Donovan Mitchell during those Utah series is just as good as Anthony Edwards.
And who was the power forward for Utah Jazz? Was it Derek Favors?
Might have been. Was he there or did he come off the bench? Because I know Joey. Was it Bogdan at small forward and Joe Ingles at power forward?
Exactly. Big Cat is way better than Joe Ingles. Whoever's at power forward, Big Cat's better.
I mean, Bogdan Bogdan is just as good, or at that time was like near Cat's level.
And I give you
he averaged like 17, 18. Bogdan did.
Who?
Bogdan Bogdanovic, the guy that got hurt for the Knicks this year.
Mm-hmm.
Their super six man that they traded for.
Mm-hmm.
He used to be on Utah.
As a what? Bench player?
No, as a starter. And he averaged like 18.
18. Well, he was getting no blocks. He was getting blown past.
No,
Big Cat's faster than him, and the person.
But also,
and McDaniel's faster than Joe.
You also got to remember that Big Cat is praised because the thing is Big Cat's a thick player. So like Jokic always used his weight against people. Well, Big Cat's a little tubby, so like, you know, he almost was able to use that to his advantage to keep Jokic away from the hoop. And but he's actually the Big Cat. His whole career has been known as a piss poor defender.
Who?
Karl Anthony Towns. He literally, this one series is the only time he's played defense in his whole life.
So it might be different this time. He's better.
I don't know, but but that's what I'm saying.
He's piss poor defense, but against Bogdanovic, he has better defense than him.
No, but what I'm saying is that he was able to be good because all he had to do was just be heavy and stay against Jokic. That's not real defense. It's like, oh, you're just as thick.
He had to guard Gordon too.
He was guarding the Joker, and he did a good job on it, but it's just because he was just as thick as he was. Not because he was playing exceptional defense as far as moving your feet and thing like that. The Joker couldn't move and bully him like the way he does Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis doesn't weigh enough. That's the only reason Karl Anthony Towns is playing good defense is because their weight's similar. But I'm saying if you make Karl Anthony play defense where if he gets like switched out on Luka or Kyrie or Derrick Jones Jr. pump fakes like he's going to shoot a three and then drives it, they will have way more success against Karl Anthony Towns than the Joker would have against him.
We gonna see. I mean, hey, Karl Anthony Towns does average a lot against the Mavs, but y'all comment down below. Let us know
It's
how
Grant Williams. It doesn't count. He's a bum. That's why we